of Let's Talk About It. Again, we like always, we hope that you're having a blessed and beautiful week in the Lord. And I believe we have a great topic tonight uh, in dialogue that you will enjoy. And if you have any questions or you have any comments, we ask you to just go into the comment block and make those comments. And again, we're still looking for anybody that has any topics that you would like us to talk about, and you have any questions that you might ask from us and want to see what we think about it. We would love to hear from you. Again, we're open books, and if we can't answer you, we promise that we will go look for the answer, study the answer, and come back to it. And not just looking the answer up, but studying it, because if we don't know it, we want to know it for ourselves. And again, just blessings to you, and we and all the children out there. I know you guys are waiting for this week to end. For some, I know for in this area, I believe this week is the last week of school, and some of the students have already graduated, like a lot of the seniors, so they're not even going to school. So I remember when we were in high school, I don't think we got a week ahead of everybody else. I think we graduated the week that everybody got out of school. I think I graduated on the 23rd or the 25th of May.
That's how it was.
Yeah, we didn't get no week off out of school when everybody else was going to school. So
graduation, last day of school.
Yeah. So how's your week been going, brother?
It's been pretty good. I will not complain about anything, because we all can complain about something, but God's been good. I'm moving forward with my business. My family's going good. I would say overall I'm good. Out of 10, I would give myself 8.9, 9.3, something like that. The little area there where there's something else is just where I feel like I may, I leave room for improvement, where maybe I missed something, or maybe I could do something a little better. I'm not gonna ever say I'm perfect,
right?
But like, as far as I feel good.
I'm gonna tell you about feeling good though. I feel good, and listen, I am not endorsing, but for myself, I started taking those super beats, brother, because
I heard about them.
Okay. I have high blood pressure, and I take high blood pressure medicine, and I don't like how the high blood pressure medicine makes me feel, and it has all these other side effects to it, and they want to give me three different. One hypertension, and one bottle says hypertension, the other one says blood pressure. Hypertension is blood pressure, but you give me three different pills to solve an issue, but I'm having all these other issues because of this. And so I really, I watch these commercials and I'm like, man, just something else for them to try to sell over the. And so Dad, he was taking super beats. I said, well, let me go try it, since he's taking them. And man, let me tell you something. You do what they tell you. You take twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I feel that I see the difference in my blood pressure. I feel like
is this a pill form?
Do it now.
Is it a pill? Is it in pill form?
It's almost like a gummy. It's It's a square, soft, it's thick gummy. The only thing is the texture, and it does get a little gritty when it's getting down to the. But other than that, man, it's doable, and I haven't waken up with any swelling or tingling in my hands since I've been taking them.
Where could someone find it?
Super Beats, I got it at Walgreens.
Okay.
Yep, I got it at Walgreens, and I think it says Super Beats times two. Take it two times a day.
Hmm.
I believe you can get it at Walmart too. Um, so in Walmart, I believe it comes in a container, but the one I have comes in like a bag, a resale bag, and it has the different gummies in it. But each one has its own cover. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Cool.
but I'm telling you, man, I feel a big difference in it, and so not trying to endorse it, but I am putting it out there that it's working for me. That's what.
Hey, I mean that's what this platform is for. You know, we talk about different things. We're just for the viewers. You know, we're not just always talking about the spiritual aspect. We're talking about whole life things too.
Yeah.
Um, man, I forgot to say my bell peppers are growing in, man. They hey bell peppers, my tomatoes, my carrots are sprouted, my zucchini and my okra. Now the okra and zucchini haven't formed the little fruit yet, or the vegetable yet,
Hmm.
but the leaf, you know, the vine is growing good, man.
You
It's
really need to take some pictures so you can share it with the viewers. Like, I wish you
I
would
sure
have
will
showed. I wish you would have showed like your
when they
beginning
started.
process of you and Tavy
Yeah,
out there working out there together, and
yeah.
then and how they're going. Because
Going forward, I will.
yeah,
I absolutely will.
Nathan, man, you should see his too. So I am going to break down and do it too. I'm gonna build,
Hey,
but I'm only gonna do one. I'm only gonna do one, and
I'm gonna tell you though. I'm gonna tell you, it is therapeutic.
that's what he said.
Man, I didn't realize it until I was like, I've heard of it before.
Hmm.
I've heard of it being therapeutic for people, and I didn't do it to. I didn't start my garden from the therapy perspective. I started it from like, you know, looking at the price of inflation and all of that, and I was like, man, you know, we went when we before we got started, we went to the just regular grocery outing to go get some groceries, and man, we spent like $200 on what 15 years ago or even 5 years ago now would
Hmm.
have only cost us maybe $80. And I was like, this is crazy. And so now I know we're not going to be able to completely offset all of the cost of everything because there's still a use for grocery stores and all of that. But what I can grow, I was like, man, I'm gonna grow it. It
Yeah.
was that point, like we couldn't even. We were on a smaller check that time, and I was like, man, not it should not be that I'm sitting up here like, am I going to buy fruit or am I going to buy veggies? I shouldn't. Have, I was like, it shouldn't be like this because I still have to put gas in my vehicles.
I would have said fruit, no vegetables.
But you see what I'm saying? Like when you grow your own though,
Yeah.
that's what that was the thing for me that got me started. Was like now my wife, she had been talking about it for a long time, and I have to give her credit. She has been talking about it, and I was kind of procrastinating. I was well, maybe not procrastinating because I was getting my business started, you know, just doing a lot of things. But then that was the thing that made me make my mind up. Like, now I'm going to go ahead and do this. And so I just went in and started investing. And she was like, I didn't know you knew how to do this kind of stuff. I was like, girl, my granddaddy had the record for the biggest watermelon in the state. So yeah, I know a little bit, and I remember him doing some things out there. And my dad, he doesn't, but dad knows how to grow stuff. You
Yeah.
know, he does. It's just
Papa Stars know how to do a lot of things.
yeah.
He ain't doing lately. He know how to do a lot of stuff, and
Hey,
he'll
he just didn't
now
say
if you
it.
start talking about it, you'll start seeing the knowledge that he has. Because if he hear you conversate, he will like, well, you need to do this.
Yep, yep.
You need to do this.
That's how it was. When I told him about and I said, well, Dad, I'm getting ready to build a chicken coop. He was like, well, you don't know nothing about that. You know how dads gonna be. You
Yep.
don't know nothing about no chickens. I said, well,
I
that
can
that I don't know, I'm about to learn. And I said, I bet you gonna want some of these eggs. He said, yes. And then he said, well, let me know. And then he just started talking. Just like you said, he just started talking. And I was like, man, I could have did this 20 years ago. you know,
hmm
and her dad, you know, Pop Brooks.
Yeah. Well, he old country bumpkin.
But see, that's the thing. That's why I enjoy being around the elders. I do, because a lot of times we learn when we do what you was just saying. Like we just say something, I'm thinking about doing this, and then they're like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. That's like, and you just was sitting on this information. That's why I'm like, hey,
You,
I want to
I think it really is because as we've got, they've seen us in the way society is now. They they really don't. They haven't really seen how much of us is them, are them. And when we start talking about it, I think it kind of excites them a little bit, and it brings that old, and they're like, okay, all right, you do got a little bit of, you got some me in you. So but all of that is not lost anymore, because it looks like the way society is now, the way young people are, the way they used to do things is a thing of the past. And it's not. We actually love that stuff. You and I've been talking about the chicken coop forever, and man, I just built that awning in the back for, listen, I said I'm not buying another shed. I will not. I refuse to buy another shed off the side of the road from them shed people, whatever they listen. When you buy those things,
they on every major highway.
When you put it in your yard, when you go inside of it, you're gonna be like, I could have made this for half the price. You're not thinking about it at the time when you're laying that cash out, or you're renting to own or whatever. You're just like, you need it now. But when it actually gets to your property, you're gonna be like, man, I mean, when you put your mind, I could have bought this. I got that pool house, the one in my backyard, and I'm like, every time I go in there, I almost get sick because the amount of money I paid for it, and I could have made that for half the price.
I think these are the lessons though that make us wise later on, so that these are the experiences, that we gonna pass on to our sons when they grow up. It's like, hey son, don't do that, do this. And it's the thing of where I am. I guess I'm getting into midlife, middle, whatever, and I see it where I have the opportunity to pass information, but then I'm also an opportunity to gain information.
Yeah.
And so it's being a steward of what you gain. So what are you doing with what you gain? Are you going to use it, or are you going to pass it? Because some things we know we may not be using right now, but the next brother or the next younger brother, and young doesn't necessarily mean age. Sometimes it's a newlywed.
Sure. Yeah.
And we're seeing them. We're like, hey, brother, come here. Don't talk to your wife like that, or you know what I mean? We guys are guys sometimes, and I think about some of the men when I was growing up at Christian faith. Some of them that's not with us anymore, like Pastor Hayes, or excuse me, Bishop Hayes, Bishop Newsom, Bishop McMiller. Man, all of that information. Bishop Minifield. I remember the day I said I was getting ready to go to the military. Everyone that I just named pulled me to the side, and Pop Brooks, and my dad, and your father. This was after church, and they gave me a wealth of. It was like a course, what they call it?
Overwhelming a little bit because it's so much
knowledge. And it was, but for me, I felt so blessed that everyone that I named, Bishop Martin, Bishop Newsom, because he called me. Bishop Minifield was Elder Minifield at the time. Pastor Hayes was over, but he called me. Your dad, my dad, Pop Brooks, Bishop McMiller, they were all there though, and they just, hey, they pulled me to the side at the church, and they was giving me these tools. Hey, remember this, do this. And yes, it could have been overwhelming, but there was times in basic and tech school and in my early career that I pulled off of what they were saying. And so I look at now, being in having the opportunity that when these young guys are coming out of high school, I realized the opportunity to tell them, and I'll tell them this didn't originate with me. Mm-hmm. What I'm telling you didn't originate with me, but what I'm telling you works. I listened to those who came before me, and it worked for me. I'm telling you, if you listen, if you do it, you're not gonna always get it right. I'll be the first to tell you, but if you do it, man.
You know, a lot of the stuff that I'm not as good as my dad when it comes to building, by no means. I mean, I maybe got 9% of his 100%, but I mean, if I really take my time, you know, and I can get pretty close, but I remember when Dad used to make me go outside with him, you know, show and say, you know, even when I didn't want to. But those are a lot of the times, like when I'm thinking about something, I can remember him doing something. I'm like, oh, yep, that's how he did that. That's how he did this. And sometimes I do shortcuts because I'm like, man, I ain't doing all that. And I'll do shortcuts. But doing the shortcut, I see what happens when you do shortcuts too. I mean, it works, but it don't look good, you know. But you were talking about, and I'm gonna go here before we go into our topic, because I told you said something, and so I'm gonna let everybody know before we went live. Channing started rubbing his face like he was rubbing like, hey, I still my stuff's still black, my hair's still black, and so my hair gray runs really fast in my family, and now my dad really could never grow a beard, and I grew one. Now I'm not ready to be gray. I want everybody to really understand something. I'm not ready to go gray. I'm gray because I just haven't gone to the store. No, not really. So I want you have everybody talking about some. It's so great. It's natural. It's all this other stuff, and I'm like, I'm not ready for gray. What do you mean? It's masculine and it's good for, and you should embrace it. Okay. Oh, so I should embrace it. So why do women that have curly hair hate their curls and they go straighten your hair? Why don't you just embrace your curls?
Oh, I got an answer for that.
Why don't you just embrace your curls? No, but so you're blonde, but you don't want to be blonde. You want to be a brunette. Embrace your blonde. Yes, embrace your blonde. Why do I have to, if I'm not ready, to embrace the gray? Because this is listen, it's been 30 days now that my face has been like this, maybe. And usually, you know, I'm not even gray in my hair. It's my face. What does that look like? Black hair, brown, gray face.
I'm about to mess you up.
So
I'm about to mess you up.
My thing is, I just want everybody to know that Channing was like rubbing it in, like he's doing like this, trying to make me feel like, you know, man, do you remember when your face was like this? I'm just saying.
Okay, so perception is everything.
Or something.
Perception is everything. Yeah. Now, before we get on that topic of tonight, here's another topic that we may go to on another day. How many times have you been around someone and you assume that they have an issue or they're saying something or they're acting a way, and that is not what they're thinking at all?
He was thinking that, y'all.
See? So now this is lighthearted, what we're talking about right now. But think about when you were at church, and because this person walked by you and they didn't say hi or praise the Lord or hug you, and you two may have had a knot or something, you know, something minor. But as time goes on, it began to fester and it gets bigger. And then so It could have been something simple as me doing like this. Now he and I are good. We're good. But it could have been something like, think about that though. Somebody just do this and you're like, oh, you trying to say it, and it grows. And that person sitting there like, man, I'm scratching my beard. Hey, what?
You rubbed it more than you rubbed it more than just scratch.
See, we do that. We do that. Now, for the gray, I personally, if you have now, some people, some ladies, some young men that will straighten their hair, they were picked at a lot. They were talked about a lot growing up because of that curly hair. Mm-hmm. And so it still leaves a stain on them to where they just now they've gotten to the point to straighten it. They've gotten to the point where they just, I gotta straighten it. So for them to embrace it is a mental barrier for some. It's a barrier or a task to overcome, literally, because they were picked up. For those.
So is it the same thing for my beard though?
No, you didn't grow up great. You didn't grow up great. Not for that example. Now, if it's something that you have to get over, yes, it's your cross to bear in that regard. So I'm not going to pick at you. It's funny because you harping on it so much.
I'm just going to let y'all know. I'm putting it out there. I walked into church one day and him and Elder Jones said something about my face because I had went gray.
Because we know. So, wait a minute. We gotta put
not just that, but Elder Jones got in front of the saints.
I remember that.
Did he not now?
I remember that.
I still owe him. I still owe him for that now.
Right there. So you created the atmosphere where
he created the atmosphere.
We knew it was okay because we was like, all right, because you'll come back. Now you'll come back with a quick one. And so we like, all right. I know at different times we were like, all right, I'm gonna get him because I can't mess up. If I mess up, Pastor's gonna be like, hey, Channing, what was that? He quit with it. So, but that's just the fun.
That's the fun, yeah.
We can have fun at church. We have fun at church a lot. Trust me. Especially if you saw last week's podcast when Chris was on and we was talking about when he get going, we just look over at each other. Here you go. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. We do have fun at church. We do have fun around each other.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, man, if you're not ready to embrace it for real, I'm saying it publicly. If it really does hurt your feelings, I won't say it.
It doesn't hurt my feelings, man. I'm messing with you. But I'm so glad. Still not ready to embrace it. This is the longest. It's the longest I've gone like this.
I think you need to come to my office and we have a counseling session, like a real session.
Counseling ain't helping. Listen,
we need to get to the
root. I don't want you to put the eyes and let me see myself.
We need to get to the root of this.
I'm not ready to see myself. Don't try to uncover the truth on me, brother. No.
It'll be free.
I might come. You ain't gonna hit my insurance up.
No, we're good. You just come over.
So check this out, man. We had a really quick conversation today, and we were talking about the process of obedience. We were talking about being, when we're obedient to God or we're doing something God told us to do, the process in it. And so where we're going to go tonight is in this talk is, I'll start it off like this. When I was a leader in the military, I would tell my soldiers what to do. I would give them a mission. And there was only certain times that I would give them reasoning. There was certain times that I would give them reasoning why I'm telling them to do something the way I'm telling them to do it. But then there was times that I just said, "Go do this,"
Mhm.
and all I expect was that Rogers aren't, Pulis aren't, moving outs aren't,
Yep.
and so. And you brought this up. You brought this to me, and I've really been pondering on this thing since you mentioned it today, because we didn't talk about it hardly at all. Because this is just what we do. We want to make it really authentic and bring it to the table here. So I want you to kind of what was on your mind when you brought it to me. Like what's going on.
Okay. So I was sitting in my office, um, and just going over some. You know how you make your vision board and you make your plans and all of this, and I was like, God, I want to submit my plans and my vision and my will to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm doing, or whatever I plan to do is not lining up with what you're saying for my life
Mm-hmm.
in all aspects, that's husband, father, minister, counselor, everything. You know, I don't want my thing is I know I'm saved. I know I'm going to heaven. I know I'm with Jesus.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get there and then see what I could have had just from simply obeying. And I just was kind of just thinking that's just my mind. I was just like, but why do I always ask God? And it just that's I was sitting in here and I said, why do I always have to understand what he's saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then it was I think was it Friday? No, Saturday. Sorry, Saturday. So this was last week when I had this thought process sitting in my office. And then Saturday, my sons and I and my wife, we was out there planting some sod, laying sod. And my baby boy was like, he asked a bunch of whys.
Yeah.
And I get it from his age. He's 7. That's normal. The children are going to ask why. That's how they learn. They learn by doing and falling on their face. And then they learn more about, well, why is this, Daddy? Why is that, Daddy?
Mm-hmm.
But I had got, because it was hot, I got to a point. I said, boy, just put the water over there because I said so. I got a reason for it. If you just hush, you'll see. You'll
Right.
see why. I taught him how to do the what setting to put the hose on, so that when you till the ground, you want to wet it a little bit, then put the sod down. That will quickly allow the roots to catch. It's hard for them to catch on hard ground. And I thought about it afterwards, and then I explained it because he was just trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But the deeper thing into it was I realized how I felt in that moment. I was like, does God feel like this because I'm an adult and I've had so much experience with him? If my older son, the 15-year-old, had said the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact my response would have been different, because it's like, you've been with me longer. You know I'm not going to tell you anything that's negative. And I remember my dad.
We're going to hurt you.
Right.
Harm you.
And I remember my dad sometimes giving us instructions that we didn't understand, but because we were older, we knew Dad knew what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And our parents, now I see this a lot nowadays, where parents they talk more to their children, and I don't per se have an issue towards it or not, but there's this thing now where I see children, they sometimes feel like they have to have an understanding, have to know why. And I grew up in a time when mom or dad or an adult said no or yes or do this, there was a time there where you didn't question. I need you to do it first, and then we could talk, and I'll give you an explanation later as necessary.
Right.
But just trust that what I'm telling you is going to be for your good. And so then I began to, as I was thinking and remembering that, I was like, man. But now, as I'm an adult, I'm like God to tell me something. He'll give me a plan or excuse me, give me a vision or say you're supposed to do this or do that. And I found myself wanting to understand the ins and outs. And I was like, so if I don't understand it and I sit still because I call myself waiting, you know how they say when you've done all you can do, stand.
Right.
Sometimes, and this is my mindset, sometimes we use that scripture out of context. Because sometimes God wants you to do whether you understand or not. There are times you don't have to understand the whole picture. You just need to do your part for the vision or the plan that God has in place. Um, but a lot of times we need to know the why, or we need to know the promise that comes from it. And well, if like it's a bargain deal, if I do this for you, God, it's a negotiation. That's what I meant. If I do this,
Yeah.
what am I getting?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because of the culture of it being a transactional relationship. Is my obedience based on a transactional relationship? Or is my obedience predicated on me understanding? So it's two things. Is my obedience predicated on him doing something for me because I obeyed? Or is it I'm going to obey as long as I understand?
So my question to you is obedience still obedience when understanding is withheld?
So that's a man. Okay.
Is obedience, and I've been waiting to ask you this question. I had to question. Is obedience still obedience when understanding is withheld? Now, and I add this scripture, and I add the scripture to you because you said it a minute ago. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding.
Mm-hmm.
All thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So, not we're wanting our, is it our understanding, or we want it to be our understanding, or we want to know what's going on in his head?
Both. Uh, we want to know what's going on in God's head. We want our understanding, but then I'm also going to add we wanted to see all the steps ahead of time.
And we want to see all the steps ahead of time because, okay, let's just this is the problem right here. We want to know ahead of time, and the reason why we don't know ahead of time is because he already knows. You go put if I know this, I'm gonna try to put my own 2 cents in it.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to handle it. Okay, when I get to this point, I'm going to try to handle it the way William's gonna handle it. I'm not gonna handle it.
Pause one. If you have a comment, please go ahead and input your comment. We are actively watching the feed on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you have a comment or question or something you want to add to this, which is comment, please add to it. Go ahead, Pastor.
So it's because I know William. If I'm going forth, okay, and I know if I'm on a convoy and I'm going down this aisle, and I know 2 miles up the road, there's usually issues up there where we get hit, where convoys have been getting hit up there. I'm already going to put myself and my soldiers in a way, get them ready, and I'm only focusing over here, but this ain't where we get hit today. We're getting hit over here.
Mm-hmm.
But all I know is, we usually get hit over here, or they usually get hit over here. But that's my understanding. That's my understanding. And he's saying, just go do what I told you to do. Go do what I told you to do. you, and whatever comes, I already know what's coming.
Yeah.
I don't want you to know what's coming because you're going to try to impede what I'm putting in place to help you.
I think that's where self-preservation comes in. You remember the song? You remember the song? I'll go if I have to go. Have to go by myself. Okay. Now, think about that though. If my mother don't go, my father don't go, my sister, my brother,
Yeah.
I'll go if I have to go. Okay. Be careful what you sing.
Right.
Because on that journey of going, you can't take no thought for your life. Take no thought for what you will do or what you will eat or what you will drink. For your heavenly Father will provide these things, right? Along this journey, there's going to be, he said, I want you to blindly trust me. Abraham enters the conversation in my mind now. Abraham, take your son, your promised son, and go to the mountain that I'm going to show you. You're going to sacrifice. Silence. Bible doesn't say that Abraham said, well, God, okay, so what else am I going to need? Well, on the way here, am I going to bring some other people, or are you who do I need to talk to for the other provision? Who do I need to run across for the sacrifice? God, are you sure that you want me to sacrifice that which you gave me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God didn't say a word. Abraham didn't question. Abraham went and did. Now, here's another person, and I had this conversation with a client today, Gideon. Rise, mighty man of valor. And he said, who? Me? I'm the least in my father's house. And the tribe is we're a half tribe. We're Manasseh. We're nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Can they, what you talking about me? Okay, so I need you to prove to me that you got my back. That what you're telling me I'm going to do will be done. Okay. When God is, a lot of times God give us tasks or missions or purpose that we can't fathom in the flesh. Because in the flesh, a lot of times we go to quickly discredit ourselves. Moses did it. And I had a conversation. I can talk about it now, but I had a conversation with William. He's my pastor, so Pastor Mark. And I had to be transparent. I had to be transparent and be vulnerable in that moment. And I talked to him and I said, man, I'm being honest. I'm scared. Not scared of like, it wasn't fear like how, somebody making me tremble. But it was I had to be honest with myself to be afraid to step to be more. And then I had to be honest with myself to understand where that came from. Growing up, there were things that were said to me. I was the one in Bible classes. I was pushed ahead to the teens class when I was like, I had just turned 12 years old. I was pushed ahead. But then I wasn't allowed to do certain things with the teens, like when they went on trips, because I wasn't a teenager. I didn't understand the legal aspect of it. Because what kid is thinking about that? I just wanted to go because you guys let me compete with the Bible Bowl, but then I can't go and have fun. And so where I'm going with that is there were certain kids I didn't fit in with the group that was my age because I wasn't in the class with them. I was with the older children, the teenagers. I didn't fit. This is socially that I'm talking about. I didn't fit socially with them because we had nothing in common. I'm young to them. I'm young. What do they have to talk to me about? There was love there, meaning when we went to the big state conventions and stuff like that, Christian faith was Christian faith. You're not just gonna come up and, hey, that's my brother, and You know how it is with families.
Yeah.
You're not gonna mess with my little brother now or my big sister or whatever. But then when it's all the children together, okay, now we put the swords down, gone on, go sit with your mama, that type of thing. And so somebody in the group, in the young group, they were like, "Well, you think you know everything? You think you this? You think you that?" And it planted that seed of me wanting to not be who God called me to be. So I spent many years not saying things. I may know the answer to something I didn't say. And this man right here, he got on to me. He did. It was in love, and I received it. He said, "Don't you ever hold what God has given you, because you don't know who is blessing. You don't know who is helping. You know, you can't worry about what somebody has to say, and you also can't be afraid to." And you said this, which got this whole thing started. You can't be afraid to step out and do or say what God has told you to do or say. Sometimes it has to be blind. That Wednesday night after church when I was already at work, and I began to think about that, and that's what got me thinking. Why am I always having to understand the fullness of what God wants me to do before I give Him a yes?
That's my question. That's my next question right there.
So that's not for me to have to. So for me, that's not obedience, because if it's predicated on, and this is what I'm getting. It's not obedience from my heart. It's obedience in action.
Okay.
For instance, Moses go strike the rock. He went and struck the rock. Second time, go talk to the rock. He struck the rock. Now, because Moses was still there and he almost did, God still provided for the people. But he had an art with Moses now. And what did he say? He said, "Moses, you didn't sanctify me in front of the people." So for me, that's why I say it's not full obedience, because let's say I step to do what he said. There's the effect that God intended, because he knows all things and he knows us, will still be able to minister to whoever it needs to. But now he has to correct me, singular, the person, because I didn't fully do what he said or fully act upon it. So the effect that God wants to happen, Moses did not speak to the rock the second time, he struck it. However, they were still provided for.
Right.
We don't know what would have happened, the content of the water. Right. So
being obedient, and there was a lot that came after that just from that disobedience. And we got it. One of the comments, it says, God's instructions are not empty or open-ended. In the silence of God, our obedience to the present instructions are vital to the building up of our faith. In essence, stay true to the course. And yes, okay, so when God tells us to do something, we have to, and it's never open-ended, because he already knows the outcome. There is already the outcome. All he is asking you to do is go. And I'm going to tell you one of our problems, and that was a beautiful comment, because when he's telling us to do something, it is the only thing that is waiting to join those instructions is faith. Only it's faith, and it's our faith. And our problem is, especially with our Western culture, is that we need clarity before we can make a commitment. And why do we need clarity? Once our commitment was when we came into the faith. When we came, we said, God, we know that you have the answer. God, we know that you won't let me fail. God, you're a winner. If you're the winner and you can't fail, you can't lose, that means I can't fail, I can't lose. As long as I abide by all things. That even means if you tell me to go do something and you don't tell me why I'm going to do it, I just need to go do it. And I already know the outcome is winning. The outcome is winning. Now, in the process of being obedient, yes, well, God, you told me to do this, so why am I getting hit up and beat up? Well, because that's what comes with being saved, getting some bruises, knowing that the devil is coming to attack you because he doesn't want you to be obedient. The more you're obedient, the more that he gets upset and mad that he is lost a soul, to hell, to the grave. But the more we're obedient, the more we're resisting. Obedience is resisting the devil.
Yes. Yes.
Obedience is resisting the devil. We're saying, okay, God, take me where I need to go. Devil, if I'm going where God is taking me, that means these other things that are tugging me and trying to get me not to go where God tells me to go. You don't need clarity. Now, there are going to be some times where God gives you the why. So we're not saying when God tells us stuff, he's never going to tell us why. Sometimes it's just go do it. And then there's sometimes where he's going to say, all right, Noah, build the ark. In so and so days, I'm going to flood the earth. I want you to minister to the people. Why do you want me to build the ark? How do you want? Well, I'm going to give you the instructions on building the ark. This is how big, this is how long, this is how wide, this is how tall. I'm giving you complete clarity. So I'm not, if you build the ark any bigger than I told you, it's not going to work. If you don't build it exactly because you feel like you cut it too much and you say, well, it'll work, it ain't going to work.
And see,
yeah,
this is me transparent. I find myself wanting that clarity, that version of clarity all the time. Now, just being honest, what I'm saying right now does not. And if you find yourself feeling this type of way sometimes, it does not mean you're not saved.
Mm-hmm.
It means you're flesh and blood, and there's a decision to make. Okay, I know I heard God, or I know He said this or said that to through the man or woman of God, and it checked. I tried the Spirit by the Spirit, and it's God is saying yes, this is me. Now, am I going to do, or am I like, if He didn't give me all of the instructions? If my situation wasn't to build an ark, because the ark could be also a metaphor for what you have to do in your walk, something you could be doing. Some God's going to give you set instructions for certain things,
mm-hmm.
But then there's also times where He's going to say, "Follow me." The disciples, He went to each one of them and said, "Follow me," and they got up. And then I forget which. I think was it Peter? Who he said, we got to give us a second. We're gonna go bury something. I think it was his father-in-law or something like that. And Jesus said,
he said,
let the dead bury the dead.
Yeah,
I might have the disciple wrong. For anybody that's the Bible scholar, I'm sorry.
That's when he called him. Yeah,
but He called him, and they were saying, "I'll follow you, but let me take care of this over here first." And a lot of times we have that mentality. Okay, God, I acknowledge what you're saying. I acknowledge that I'm going to do it. I recognize this is you. Let me get this right over here. And He's like, once I've called you, that other stuff is dead.
Right.
So there's a deeper meaning when He said, let the dead bury the dead. We know that was talking about those who were spiritually dead at the time. Let them bury that.
It's for almost like His first teaching moment. He was giving him, can you imagine God was always giving them like these symbolic, messages. And you like, if you ever watch The Chosen, they're like, what did He mean by that? Come on, think about it. That's what He's saying. He's saying, because Jesus would, give all these different little
cliffhangers,
and it'd be like, huh? What? I mean, if something would just happen, he would say, I mean, like, and that is so cool. Like he said that, and now if you put that together, he wasn't saying you don't need to go see about your daddy. He was literally just giving him, listen, when you come to me, when you come into me, all those other things, like you just said, all those other things are not going to matter anymore. The dead, those things of the world aren't going to matter no more. Where I'm taking you, that is going to be it's going to be a much greater course. That, you have a much greater mission than handling, and a lot of times God does not tell us to protect the why. It's protecting the what.
Whoa. Wait, hold on. You gotta say that again. Hold on, because all right, I get it. Say that one more time.
A lot of times he does not tell us the ins and out about it, because it's not because he's trying to protect the why. He's protecting the what. And that takes us back to, if I got to protect the outcome, I don't need you to be messing with. I know where I need you and when I need you, because I don't need you to be a Moses. I need you to do exactly the way I'm telling you. So I'm not going to tell you why. I'm not going to tell you anything else other than do it. And he's building our faith. And a lot of times there's another reason why he doesn't tell us, because he's wanting to know, have you completely surrendered? Have you completely surrendered? To surrender means that you've given all of yourself, like you're saying, here, take me. You just handed over the cuffs and said, here, you got the key to whatever you want to do with me.
Hey man, I'm convicted. I'm just gonna, hey, I told you, I'm in this thing now, like, and I want to stay in this position. My title don't mean nothing if I'm gonna miss the Lord. What you just said convicted me, and I can be honest about that. That convicted me, because was I fully submitted? You know what I mean? That's what I hear. I question that, not God, me. And I'm
But we sing. Okay, bro. It's so easy for us to sing these songs. I give my life fully committed to you. Really? That just you're saying I give my life fully committed, which means fully committed means I don't even need you to just tell me what I need to do. I don't need any clarity. I don't need any clarity. I don't need you to tell me why. Just tell me what city. Okay, got it, Lord. Because you just did this.
Yeah.
Let the dead bury the dead. Everything that was about me, everything that was me, everything that came with me is gone. I'm yours. We have become slave to God. I don't want to. I hate to use that word, but I'm enslaved to. I'm enslaved to you.
Paul used it.
I'm enslaved to you.
In a couple of his epistles, at the beginning, Paul, a prisoner of Christ. I, Paul, a prisoner of Christ. He started his epistle out.
Okay, everybody. I am a prisoner to Christ. So let's go back to what prisoner is. Prisoner means that you're chained to something, or you're confined to something. Mm-hmm. You cannot be I'm not let go. I'm imprisoned, and I'm doing only what the prison allows me to do.
And this is voluntary.
Voluntary prison. And I'm going, and I'm taking it. I understand that as long as I'm in here, I'm only going to do what this tells me to do, what I'm allowed to do in here.
You see, there's a battle because
It was just talked about it.
Because the flesh wants to be free from that imprisonment. That which I do, I don't want to do. And that which I want to do, I don't do.
Yeah, I don't do. Well,
so that which I do,
which I do,
flesh,
okay. You said, okay.
I don't want to do spiritually.
Right.
And that which I want to do, I don't do. There's a war between the flesh and the spirit. My spirit wants to do right, but then my flesh doesn't. And then my flesh wants to do wrong, and my spirit doesn't. The spirit wants to be in prison to Christ. Like you said, it's chained. It doesn't mean involuntary servitude. We think of prison like the prison system here. That's not what that's saying. I'm voluntarily chained to him.
Yes.
Don't take your spirit. That's what David said. Look, no, you can take everything else. I could lose everything else. Just don't take your spirit from me. And this was after he had sinned. This was after he murdered, after he committed adultery. I could lose all of this stuff. Don't take your spirit from me. Keep me enchained and linked to you.
Right.
Okay. Now the flesh says, I need to understand it. So I realized, like I said, when you was just saying that before, I was like, I'm convicted because I see my carnality. That's carnal. That doesn't mean I'm not saved. That just means I'm now.
It just means that we continue to understand the battle between the members. We have to understand that when we see these things, when we get convicted, we're getting convicted to show how strong the flesh really is. It should never be stronger than the spirit. The spirit. Right. Whoever is in control is going to be the one that has the most strength, because God wants to be in control. But the thing about it is, he's not a dictator. If he was a dictator, he always could just do whatever he's gonna. No. But now he does say, "Don't do that." When he says, "Don't do that," he's saying he is giving you, or he says, "Do that," and you do just the opposite. When he says that, those are choices that he's giving you. And whenever you go against whatever he is, the choice that he's giving you, you give that flesh resurrection. You give life to that was dead. He said, "Let the dead bury the dead," and listen, you got to let it stay dead. But you have to understand that also wants to resurrect. It's that powerful. And because it lost something, your soul. And that death is always trying to gain you back. It's always it's fighting for you. It wants you to lay down in the ground with it. It doesn't want you to have life. It wants you to be dead.
And the reason I bring up about the salvation, I brought that up a couple times, because sometimes when we find ourselves convicted of certain things, concepts and precepts, understand it's for your perfecting. It doesn't mean you're out of the faith. It does not mean it. Like what we're talking about right now, that simple questioning and saying, why am I questioning God? That's not an issue of salvation. This is God revealing an area in my life that I was carnal. Okay. But it doesn't. Now, the reason I brought up salvation is because now the enemy, remember, Satan is always trying to accuse. He is always present. I preached a message not too long ago in the book of Zechariah. It says in the book of Zechariah, I believe it was chapter 3 I was coming from, that Satan was standing right there beside God. God was giving the blessing and the promise of what's about to take place. And Satan was right there accusing them and trying to oppose what God was saying. So I need you to understand when revelation comes, whether it's revelation in the word, revelation about yourself, the devil is always gonna try to see, you're not saved, see, you're not right. And if you listen to it, you will beat yourself up sometimes. And it's like it some of this stuff is just a simple, oh, okay, God, I realize that now. Okay, God, I'll do better. That's it.
So I really think that when you ask the question, why is it that we always need clarity or with the process? Because you were talking about the process of
Mhm.
being obedient, the process of being obedient, and a lot of it is the one word is because we lack the surrender.
Yes.
We lack the
So
surrender.
I want to ask then, does fear uh, give fuel to that, the lack of surrender?
Oh yeah. And my thing is because there is no, you have not full. If there's fear, you don't surrender at all. Oh, let's look at when um Peter on the water. The storms blew. Now he saw Jesus.
Hmm.
He's literally looking at Jesus.
Hmm.
But what gave him fear?
That.
That came, walk to me, Peter, come to me, Peter.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be obedient, but I still have fear. So he didn't give full surrender.
Right.
He didn't give full surrender, and if because he didn't, he starts sinking. And even though we think that we're being obedient, when we start, okay, a trial happens, so we have fear. Well, I'm being obedient. Yes, I'm being obedient, but I'm being obedient with fear, which means that our confidence in God lacks.
So sinking, man, I just caught that. Peter began to look at the waves. We know the story, and he began to sink. Yet he was. It didn't say he wasn't still trying to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
but he started to sink
Started to sink.
because he took his eyes off the. We always say that he took his eyes off the focus and he began to sink. We know that, but what just illuminated to me is that God. This was God showing Peter, hey, with me, you're capable of this. Now that don't mean you just gonna be out here walking on water all the time. What he was showing him, there's nothing impossible
There's
with you.
nothing impossible. There's nothing impossible.
And if you can believe to step out, and when he stepped out, it wasn't peaceful water. That man, it ministers so much to me. I just I can't go into detail right now, but it ministers so much to me
See,
because
the voice of God, when we hear his voice, we get excited to hear his voice.
yes, yes. But he don't say nothing when it's opportune.
We get excited when we
Woo.
hear his voice. Peter's excited. He sees and hears God's voice, but and so he begins because he went off of the excitement of the voice of God and seeing God. And
Absolutely.
so, but he forgot what happens to follow God. What comes persecution.
Yes.
The winds and the trials was gonna come on your way to the end, to your mission point which was to get to where God was.
We don't know how far out in the
We
water
don't know how far out he was. All we know is that
exactly.
he was walking to him, and while he was walking to him, the trials and the wind came, and he got off focus because there was fear. Now, if I'm coming to see God and God tells me to come, is he telling me to come so he can kill me? God, just leave me in the boat and just take and let the boat sink.
Right. Right.
He literally is telling you to come to him, walk to me, to kill me, to allow this
Woo.
to destroy me. So, which means is I'm Okay, I'm trusting you on a limb. What are you? I'm trusting you on a limb.
Fair weather, as long as it's good.
I'm trusting you on a listen. It's a limb here. I'm trusting you that much.
I'm kind of trusting you,
Now
but I
you done
you
doing
sure
all of everything that you've done, everything that I saw. I really don't know if you can do this though. I really don't know. I mean, you turn water into wine. You let the deaf man hear, the lame man walk. Everything. Listen, you ears. You put ears on men and that I cut the ear off and all this other stuff. And
the other stuff that wasn't written.
I'm still not going to trust you when I know that the word of God says all of that you've done all that. And I trust it and I believe it. And this is one of the reasons why I come into Christ, is because I trust and believe. So at what point did we lose that? Was it the moment? Were we in the moment? And that's and so now that we're in Christ, everything else. Listen, okay. All right. Why do I have to prove myself every week to you?
Every week I gotta prove my love.
That's
what we're making him do. And that's what we're making God do. And then the reason I got my head down and I just all of this, because I'm telling you, man, this is really helping me and ministering to me, because God didn't call him Jesus. He first and foremost, let's go back some. Okay. In order for Peter to see it, it had to be revealed. It had to be revealed. It says, now go back to that story. Jesus was on the water.
Yeah.
And they saw him. He could have been on the water and they not see him because of the waves and the storm.
Come on, bring it home.
He was able to be seen because he cleared enough of the way. You only gonna see what he gonna let you see to begin with. So Peter, flesh and blood have not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. Now, yes, Jesus said that when they were sitting, and he said, "Who do men say that I am?" And but I, line upon line, it's connecting now. Jesus he revealed himself to them in the storm to where they could see. Because the Bible says that the winds and the rains the waves was boisterous. That means it was rocking that ship. That ship, it had it tossing and turning. And if you've ever been on sea, a good fog, you can't see 10 feet in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even with the waters raging. When there's a storm on the way on the sea, man, you can't see nothing. But he was still seeing. So in your life, you may be facing storms. You may be facing issues, but God still allows you to see him. And then in him allowing you to see him, he said, "Come on out." So sometimes you're come on out here. You're like, "Lord, if this is you, bid me to come." That could be your business. That could be your education. Because when God calls you to ministry, it's not when you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
In the physical. When he calls you to salvation, for those who are not saved, it's not when you're ready for it. Most people say, "I got to get myself together before I can come to church." No, come broken, come battered, come bruised. That's the hospital. He allowed you to see enough in the mess that you was in to know that you need to be. That's you seeing him.
I want you to go back because being revealed, okay? And I know we got to close, but because I'm thinking about Moses.
Sorry if I was loud.
I'm thinking about Moses when God was sending him back and forth to Pharaoh. Talk about obedience. Yes, he struck the rock when he wasn't supposed to. But let's back up in the danger part, because he went back to Egypt,
where he was a wanted man.
And God's telling him to go back and tell him to let my people go. Tell him what I'm telling you to do. And when God tells us to do something and we're obedient, God will always ensure that we see him. He's not going to not forsake us okay, you go and I'm gonna be over here. When God tells you to go do something and you're in obedience, God will always show up to let you know that he's present.
Right.
He will always show up to let you know that he's present. Now, sometimes things are happening and you haven't got any instructions from him, and you're like, well, God, do you see this? God, you hear? And God's saying, I got you. All right, this is what I'm going to do. But when he tells you to go do something, believe you me, when you make those steps to go forward in the obedience, he is walking with you. He's present. So when the magicians were, throwing their staffs and they turned into, snakes and stuff, and Moses put his snake down and it swallowed that serpent. God was showing, I told you I'm with you. Continue to do what you do. This is just a little bit. Now continue to tell. If I'm doing this, go ahead and tell the king I said what I said.
So come
on. I'm good. Your children. Your child just died, and your child just died.
But we gotta put some understanding on this too, though. Because the story of Moses and Pharaoh is not just a simple story.
Correct.
All right. First and foremost, Egypt was the world power at the time. The world power. So that's like one of you and me or whoever else is on the podcast listening. God tell you to go to the president of the United States. U.S. is currently still one of the world powers. Go and tell him thus. But what you have to tell him is an indictment on something he's been doing. He's going to know it's from God. He's going to know. Mm-hmm. First of all, he know you don't know him, whatever. But the things that God's going to tell you to tell him, you're going to know. That's what Moses had to. Now, on top of this, you are a refugee because you left the country because you murdered somebody. Mm-hmm. They wanted to kill you. The Bible says that the Pharaoh at the time wanted to kill Moses. Now, when Moses was coming back, it said that Pharaoh had died. The one who wanted to kill him died.
Right.
But the son was still there, who knew what happened. Now, the thing is, when he showed back up, now this is an ex-con who is now telling me
he had killed one of ours. He had struck and killed a soldier.
To let everybody, to let the whole working class go. Let them go so they can leave this country and be their people, their own people, their own, whatever. But this person. So the things that was up against the individual, Moses had a speech impediment. He said, "I'm have a tongue issue." God said, "Okay, I'm gonna send Aaron with you." Moses was wanted for murder. God's like, "Yeah, don't worry about that. I'll take care of that." And then he said, "The people." He said, "The people now they're gonna ask who is telling me to see." Now, just reading that, you'd be like, "Oh, okay, whatever." That's not that big. In the Israeli culture, that is huge because a prophet that was found to be a liar was killed. So Moses was facing death twofold in his mind. Mm-hmm. Pharaoh wants me dead. He didn't know. When I get here, they're gonna arrest me. They're gonna want me killed because I got to face trial for my crimes. But then among my brethren, let's say that's good. But now among my brethren, how they gonna believe me? Because when I left, I was a nobody. I was a murderer. Oh, hold on. I was also one of the kids who had it good.
I was an Egyptian. I was
I
ready.
lived in the palace. So I had it good while they were out here working hard. Now I come back to be their savior. I'm going to be rejected by them. So for us nowadays, we discount and we sometimes say we go into quickly why somebody would not want to hear what we have to say. It's really not what you have to say. God is the one giving you the words to say it. So stop it. Stop it. Stop discounting yourself of the mission that God is giving you. Whatever your mission is, if you're outreach, stop discounting yourself. If you are administrations, stop discounting yourself. No person can do what you do like you.
That's right.
No person.
And
Because you
understand,
have
if God
nothing
told
to
you to do it, it's for you to do it.
absolutely.
It doesn't matter what you think about yourself. It's something about you that God's saying only you can do it.
That's it.
I want you to do it. And a lot of times God is, we don't have any faith in ourselves because we're not obedient. But the more we're obedient and start doing the things that God tells us to do, you'll find yourself getting more confidence in yourself. A lot of people don't want to get up and do prayer. A lot of people, and God's trying to get you. He said, go do prayer. Oh no, Lord, not me. I'm not getting up in front of the people. No, why? Okay, so guess what? And what happens is you have more fear built on more fear and more fear, when it should be confidence built on confidence built on confidence, because all of us are supposed to do a work for God.
Yep.
All of us are supposed to be doing work for God. And you have to find out what that is. You cannot be, feel like, you're nobody. You got to say, okay, God, what is it? I surrender. Let me be prisoner to you. And with that said, we want all of us, me, Channing, we want you. We just want you to be obedient. Understand that God. God is giving you clarity when He tells you to do something. The clarity is your obedience. The clarity is your obedience, and just trust in the Lord. Don't have fear, and yes, fear does come, but fear not. Fear not. God is always with you, and when He's telling you to do something and He tells you to go somewhere, believe me, He's walking right next to you. The moment you start having fear and you start trying to act and you're acting like God's not next to you, you're going to start sinking. You're going to start sinking. And God's literally looking at you saying, here, grab my hand. I never left you. What did you think? I was gone to lunch? I'm always working. I'm always what's the song? When I don't think he's always working or something like that, or
even when I don't see it, he's always working.
Yes. He's always when I'm asleep, he's working. He's already working on people's minds that you got to deal with while y'all are asleep. While y'all asleep, he's dealing. He softened. He hardened Pharaoh's heart to go after Moses and Israel just because that was what he was going to do, destroy Israel. When Pharaoh thought that he was going to destroy Israel and and grab them and kill them, God had already orchestrated that to destroy them. And so just know God's got you. God's got you. Just be obedient, trust God, and completely surrender your all. We love you. God bless you. We ask that you come, those that see this and are not members or have not come visit us at Christian Faith Fellowship Temple. You can come visit us at 4081 Andrews Avenue, 36360. That's Ozark, Alabama. And our Wednesday night Bible study is 7 o'clock. And then we also have prayer at 6. And on our worship service on Sunday is at 11 o'clock, but we also have Sunday school at 10 o'clock. Come worship with us. Come worship with us. We believe that we know that you'll have a wonderful time. And we're not just a church, we're a family. We love you. God bless you.